Blue Book Chapter 1. The day she walked away. I remember the moment she stepped into my apartment that night. I could tell something was wrong before she even said a word. She wouldn't look at me. She kept biting her lip, playing with the strap of her purse, acting like I was a stranger in my own home. "Madison," I asked, "what's going on?" She walked past me and stopped near the couch. "Ethan, we need to talk." My stomach dropped. No one ever says that for good news. "Talk about what?" "A break," she whispered. I blinked. A break from what? From us? From me? She didn't answer. Her eyes stayed on the floor. I stepped closer. "Madison, please. Say something." She closed her eyes for a second, like she was gathering strength. "You don't understand anymore," she said. "I don't feel alive." Alive? I repeated. "What does that even mean?" When she didn't respond, I knew. My chest tightened. "Is this about Aiden?" Her silence told me everything. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was unbelievable. "So that's it? He shows up again, and suddenly I'm not enough?" She finally looked at me, guilt filling her face. "Ethan, I didn't plan this." "No one plans betrayal," I said quietly. "It just happens when you stop caring." "That's not fair," she whispered. "Fair?" I asked. "Madison, you've been distant for months. You think I didn't notice?" She shook her head, backing away. "I'm sorry. I want something different." "Different how?" I asked. "More fun? More exciting? Someone who takes you to bars instead of supporting your goals." She flinched. "Don't do that. Don't make me the villain." "Then stop acting like one." She grabbed her phone, her hands shaking. "I can't do this." "Madison," I said, reaching for her arm, "please don't walk out without telling me the truth." She moved away from my touch. "I need space." "Space from me? Or space with him?" I asked. She didn't answer. She turned and walked toward the door. "Can we at least talk?" I said, my voice shaking. But she just whispered, "Goodbye, Ethan," and walked out. I stood there frozen. I didn't chase her. I didn't shout. I just felt everything inside me collapse at once. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. I grabbed it fast, hoping it was her. It wasn't. Just a bank notification. When I opened her chat, her profile picture disappeared. Then her name turned gray. She blocked me. I stared at the screen. No, I muttered as I tried calling her. The call didn't go through. User blocked. I sank onto the floor, leaning against the couch, and let everything hit me at once. All the memories, all the plans, all the little moments I thought meant something. All gone with one tap of her finger. At some point, my phone rang again. It was Jordan. "Bro, you there? You sound weird on text." I couldn't speak for a second. Then I breathed out, "She left." He paused. "What do you mean she left?" "She blocked me." I whispered. "And she's with him." "I know she is." Jordan cursed loudly. "Ethan, open your door." "I'm coming." "I don't want." "I'm not asking," he said. "You're not staying alone tonight." I didn't argue. I didn't have the strength. When Jordan walked in, he didn't make jokes or ask stupid questions. He just hugged me. I didn't realize how badly I needed that until I felt my chest loosen for the first time that night. He made tea and handed me a mug. "Drink." "You're shaking." "I don't get it," I said. For years, she threw it away like it was nothing. Jordan took a deep breath. "Ethan, you know how she is? She gets pulled into drama. Aiden is drama. So I'm the boring one," I said. "No," he replied. "You're the stable one." But people who want chaos run from stability. I stared at the steam rising from the cup. I loved her, man. I really did. "I know," he said. "But love isn't always enough when the other person wants something destructive." I rubbed my eyes. "Was I not enough?" "You were more than enough," he said. "She just wasn't ready to appreciate someone like you." Later, I lay on Jordan's spare bed, staring at the ceiling. My chest felt bruised. My head felt heavy. I kept replaying her walking out, her words, her silence. "Alive," I whispered to myself. I didn't make her feel alive. I turned to the side and felt tears slip down my face. I hated crying, but this one was different. It wasn't about losing her. It was about losing the version of myself who believed I was safe with her. Somewhere in the middle of the night, I made a quiet promise to myself. I won't beg for someone who doesn't choose me. I didn't know what the future looked like. I didn't know who I would become. But I knew this heartbreak wasn't the end. It was the start of something else, something painful, Yes, but something necessary. I didn't understand it then. But this night, this moment, was the beginning of the path that would take me far from love, far from weakness, far from the boy she broke, and straight into the courtroom where everything would change. If you want, paste chapter 2 outline, and I'll generate the next chapter with the same style and controlled word count. Blue Book Chapter 2, Silence Hurts the Loudest. The next morning, I woke up in Jordan's guest room with a dry throat and a pounding head. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then everything came back. Her leaving, her blocking me, her choosing him. My chest tightened as I grabbed my phone and checked it again. Still blocked. Her Instagram was private. Her Facebook unfriended me. Her number said the same thing. You can't message this user. Great, I muttered. Perfect. Jordan knocked softly. You awake, man? Yeah, I said. He walked in with 2 cups. Here, drink. You look like you fought a bear and lost. I tried to laugh. Feels like it. He sat on the edge of the bed. Any word from her? No, I said. And I keep checking like an idiot. You're not an idiot, he said. You're hurt. I sighed. Do you think she'll come back? Jordan took a long breath, rubbing the back of his neck. Ethan, I think she left you for a guy she barely knows. And that says more about her than you. I stared at the wall. It still hurts. I know, he said quietly. But pain doesn't mean you did something wrong. Later, I headed home. The second I walked into my apartment, everything felt wrong. Her sweater was still on the couch. Her hair tie on my desk. Her toothbrush in the bathroom. It felt like she was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I picked up the sweater and held it to my face. It still smelled like her. I felt something sharp in my chest and shoved it into a drawer, slamming it shut. My phone stayed silent all day. And the next. I lost track of time. I went to work, but my mind stayed stuck on her. I stared at files until the words blurred together. Judge Hall noticed. Ethan, you need rest, he said. I'm fine. You're not, he insisted. Go home. Now. I didn't argue. Walking home, my phone buzzed. My heart jumped. Stupid hope? Only to break again when I saw the name. Emily, Madison's cousin. Her message said, Can we talk? It's about Madison. I stopped walking and typed back. What happened? A moment later. I can't text it. Call me. I sat on a sidewalk bench and dialed her number. Ethan, she said softly. I'm here. I'm really sorry, she said. For everything. What happened? I asked. Emily took a breath. Aiden told her you were boring. He said you made her feel trapped. He said he made her feel alive. My jaw clenched. And she believed him? She did. Emily said. She said you were too calm. Too stable. Those words hit harder than they should have. So she left me for chaos, I said. She left you for excitement, Emily replied. But trust me, it won't last. Aiden is reckless. He parties, lies, and owes money everywhere. He's trouble, Ethan. Madison just doesn't see it yet. I leaned back, staring at the sky. Thank you, Emily. Please don't blame yourself, she said. She's lost. When the call ended, I stayed on the bench for a long time. Lost. Maybe she was. But she took me down with her. And she didn't care. That night, I replayed her words in my head. He makes me feel alive. I whispered, why wasn't I enough? My own voice sounded small, broken. The next morning, Judge Hall called me in. Sit, Ethan. I want to talk to you. I sat across from him, trying to act normal. You're smart, he said. One of the best I've mentored. But you're stuck. I'm trying, I said. I know. He folded his hands. Which is why I want you to apply for the Judicial Development Program in Washington, D.C. I stared at him. Me? Yes, he said firmly. You need a fresh start. You need distance. You need something that belongs to you. I swallowed. I don't know if I'm ready. You'll never feel ready, he said. Apply anyway. That night, I sat at my desk with the application open. My hands shook, but I filled it out anyway. Every line felt like a step away from the life I had with her, and a step toward something new. When I finally pressed submit, I leaned back and closed my eyes. I didn't know if Madison was happy. I didn't know if she laughed with Aiden the way she once laughed with me. I didn't know if she even remembered my birthday coming up in a week. But I knew one thing. Her silence wasn't just silence. It was a message. A painful, loud, clear message. And whether I liked it or not, that silence was pushing me toward a path she never thought I'd take. Blue Book Chapter 3, The Hardest Goodbye. When the acceptance email arrived 2 weeks later, I didn't expect it at all. My phone buzzed, and I almost ignored it until I saw the sender's name. Judicial Development Program, Washington, D.C. My heart jumped. I opened the email with shaking hands. Congratulations, Ethan Cole. That was as far as I got before my vision blurred. I got in. I whispered. I actually got in. I stepped outside and called my mom. Mom, I got accepted. She gasped. Ethan, oh my God, baby, I knew it. I'm so proud of you. Her voice was warm, softer than anything I'd heard in weeks. When are you leaving? She asked. In a few days, I said. Come home before you go, she said. Just one night. Let me see you. I will, I promised. The next evening, I drove to Springfield. The 2-hour drive felt longer than ever. My chest felt heavy the whole way, like part of me was still trapped in Chicago. When I reached home, Mom opened the door before I even knocked. She pulled me into a tight hug. You've lost weight, she whispered. I know. She hurt you badly, she said gently. I nodded. Yeah. But you're gonna grow from this, she said. You're not broken, Ethan. You're beginning. We ate dinner and talked about normal things, but both of us knew Madison's shadow was still in the room. Still, something about being home made it easier to breathe. Later, I sat on the porch, staring at the stars like I used to as a kid. Mom came out quietly and sat beside me. Do you still love her? She asked. I didn't want to admit it, but I did. Yes. And do you think she loved you? I swallowed. I don't know. Not anymore. Mom sighed. Some people love the idea of love, not the responsibility of it. I stared at the sky. Maybe she'll realize her mistake. She might, Mom said. But don't freeze your life waiting for her. I'm not. I whispered, and this time I meant it. 2 days later, it was time to leave for Washington, D.C. Jordan drove me to the airport. We tried joking like old times, but there was a quiet sadness between us. Before I walked to security, he grabbed my shoulder. Ethan, you're going to be big. I know it. And when you are, she'll realize what she lost. I tried to smile. Maybe. Text me whenever you need anything, he said. I will, I promised. The airport felt too bright, too loud. When I boarded the plane and looked out the window, Chicago stretched beneath me. The city where she blocked me, where she walked out, where I cried myself to sleep. Leaving felt like victory and heartbreak blended together. As the plane lifted, I whispered, this is the hardest goodbye. Not goodbye to the city. Not to Jordan. Not even to my apartment. It was goodbye to the version of me who kept waiting for Madison to come back. Washington, D.C. was fast, sharp, and full of energy. My new roommate greeted me with a bright grin. You must be Ethan, he said. I'm Lucas. Judge Hall warned me you're a work machine. I laughed a little. I guess. He showed me around our small dorm apartment. Kitchen sucks, he said. Training sucks more, but it'll make you tough. I smiled, really smiled for the first time in a long time. Later, while unpacking, I found something at the bottom of my suitcase. Madison's sweater. I didn't even remember packing it. I held it for a long moment. The old ache rose in my chest, but it felt different now, duller, quieter. I folded it and put it deep inside my suitcase. Not because I couldn't let her go, but because I finally could. That night, lying in my new bed, I whispered, I'm going to rebuild myself, even if it hurts. I didn't know what kind of person I would become. I didn't know what challenges waited for me. I didn't know how the future would unfold. But I knew one thing for certain. This new beginning would shape the rest of my life. And somewhere far away, without me knowing it, Madison and Aiden were already walking toward the destruction they built for themselves. Blue Book Chapter 4. Becoming someone she never expected. Washington, D.C. hit me like a cold wave the moment I stepped into the city. It moved fast, talked fast, breathed fast. Nothing felt familiar, and that was exactly what I needed. On my first morning, Lucas leaned against the doorway of our small apartment and said, You ready for day one, man? As ready as I'll ever be, I said, tightening my backpack straps. You look like you're walking into battle, he laughed. Maybe I am. Well, don't die. I don't know where they keep the cleaning supplies here. I shook my head, but his jokes made the nerves easier to handle. The Judicial Development Program didn't waste a single minute. Sit, the instructor said. Open your folders. Today we start with a simulation. 12 hours. That's how long we spent inside that room. Arguments, objections, case summaries, witness sheets. My head hurt, but I kept going. During a break, Lucas elbowed me. Bro, how are you still focused? I'm one step away from snoring on my notes. I'm used to long days, I said. He snorted. And heartbreak apparently turns people into machines. I'm not a machine, I said quietly. Could have fooled me. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The truth was simple. I wasn't trying to be strong. I was trying not to fall apart. Every morning, I woke up at 5 a.m., ran around the block, showered, then studied before sessions. Lucas would groan from his room every time he heard me moving. Dude, he mumbled once. You're making the rest of us look lazy. Not my problem. It is when my self-esteem drops. I laughed, a real one, for the first time in a while. But after the laugh, silence always found me again. Sometimes Lucas caught me staring at nothing. You thinking about her? Not really, I'd say. Just remembering. Memories fade. Not fast enough. They will, he said, especially if you keep becoming this new person. I didn't know who that new person was yet, but he wasn't the old Ethan. That much I knew. For months passed. One night, after we finished dinner, I opened Madison's profile for the first time since leaving Chicago. Lucas saw the screen and raised an eyebrow. You sure you want to do that? I just want to see something. Pain or curiosity? Maybe both. Her profile was public now. Her photos didn't look like the girl who left me. Her smile looked practiced. Her eyes looked tired. Her poses felt forced. And Aiden wasn't in most of the recent pictures. The comments said everything. Where's your boyfriend? Are you two okay? I saw him at a bar last week alone. I scrolled further. Then I stopped. There she was, sitting alone in a dark bar, makeup smudged, staring into a glass like she was waiting for something that never showed up. Lucas leaned closer. That her? Yeah, she looks rough. I know. He looked at me. Does seeing her like that help or hurt? Neither, I said. It just tells the truth. And the truth is that she made her choice. I'm making mine. Lucas nodded. Good. I put my phone down and didn't pick it up again. For the first time, her sadness didn't pull me down. It pushed me forward. A week later, the head instructor announced a list of trainees chosen for courtroom assistants. My heart pounded as he read names. Lucas Reed. Lucas fist pumped. Maria Nguyen. Daniel Ortiz. Then, Ethan Cole. I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Lucas slapped my back hard. Bro, you're in. You're actually in. I couldn't stop smiling. I didn't remember the last time my face felt that light. The next day, I met Judge Olivia Grant in person for the first time. You must be Ethan, she said. Yes, Your Honor. Judge Hall speaks highly of you, she said, adjusting her glasses. He says you have calm eyes. I blinked. Calm eyes. It's a compliment. Calm eyes make fair judges. Sit. I sat. She handed me a stack of files. We start with simple cases. But simple doesn't mean easy. Understand? Yes, ma'am. I don't need you to be perfect, she said. I need you to pay attention. I will. She studied my face for a moment. You've seen pain, haven't you? I froze. Yes. Good, she said. Pain makes people softer or sharper. Which one are you becoming? I didn't answer. She didn't need me to. Her eyes softened. Come, let's go to the courtroom. Walking into the real courtroom felt completely different from training simulations. The air felt heavier. Chairs scraped softly. Papers rustled. Lawyers whispered. Every single detail felt important. Judge Grant stood beside me. Lives change here, she said. Sometimes for better. Sometimes for worse. Remember that every time you speak. I will, I whispered. Over the next few weeks, she handed me case files, quizzed me, corrected my notes, pushed me harder than anyone had before. Once during a long session, she leaned toward me and said, justice is not emotion, but emotion is what teaches you why justice matters. I nodded. I understand. I think you understand more than you admit, she said. Maybe I did. Maybe heartbreak taught me more about justice than textbooks ever could. One afternoon, after a particularly long case review, Judge Grant handed me a sealed envelope. What's this? I asked. Your first independent assignment, she said. My heart jumped. Yes. She smiled. You're ready. I held the envelope carefully. Thank you, Your Honor. You might be surprised, she said, by who walks into your courtroom. I frowned. What do you mean? You'll see. When she walked away, I stared at the envelope. My chest tightened. A strange feeling ran through me. Fear, excitement, something else I couldn't name. I didn't know what waited inside that file. But somewhere deep down, I felt the past shifting. Something or someone was coming. Someone I thought I left behind. Someone whose shadow still touched my life. I wasn't ready, but I was about to face it anyway. Blue Book Chapter 5, the case that changed everything. I didn't open the envelope right away. I kept placing it on my desk, picking it up again, and setting it somewhere else like touching it might burn me. Lucas noticed me staring at it that night and said, "Dude, open it or throw it out. You're stressing me out just watching." "I will," I told him. "Just not tonight." He shrugged. "Your funeral." I waited 2 full days. Finally, sitting alone in the small office Judge Grant let me use at the courthouse, I took a deep breath and tore the seal open. A thin stack of papers slid out. At first, everything looked normal. Case number, charges, the standard layout. Then I saw the mugshot. My breath stopped. No way," I whispered. I blinked, hoping I read it wrong. But the name didn't change. Aiden Brooks. My chest tightened. "You got to be kidding me." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling like maybe the tiles would offer an explanation. None came. I forced myself to look at the charges. Fraud, assault, illegal credit card schemes, threatening a witness, unpaid debts. "Of course," I muttered. "Of course it's him." My heartbeat pounded so loudly I could barely hear my own thoughts. Aiden, the one Madison said made her feel alive, the one she replaced me with, was now a criminal defendant in my hands. "I can't do this," I whispered. Right then, someone knocked. Judge Grant stepped inside with her calm, unreadable face. "You opened it," she said. "Yes, ma'am." "You look pale," she said. "Is there a problem?" "I know him," I admitted. She didn't react with surprise. Instead, she asked, "Personally?" "Not directly," I said. "But he's connected to my past." Judge Grant studied me for a moment. "If you want to step back from this case, I'll approve it." I looked at the folder again. My stomach twisted, but something inside me whispered, "Face it. Stop running." "No," I said. "I can handle it." She nodded. "Very well. Stay fair. Stay neutral. Remember, justice is not personal." "Understand," I said. She paused at the door. "Whatever history you have, don't let it control you." When she left, I stared at Aiden's mugshot again. "You destroyed me once," I whispered. "You won't destroy me here." The next morning, the courthouse was louder than usual. Reporters whispered. Officers moved quickly. The tension felt sharp enough to cut through. Lucas nudged me before I walked to my spot. "You okay?" "Yeah," I lied. "You look like you're about to face your ex in a boxing ring," he joked. "Close enough." He frowned. "Wait, don't tell me this case." "I'll explain later," I said, walking away. I took my seat beside Judge Grant's bench. My hands were steady, but my chest felt tight. I focused on breathing, on paper, on anything that wasn't the door. The bailiff called out, "Bring in the defendant." I didn't want to look, but I did. 2 officers escorted Aiden into the courtroom. He looked completely different. Not the loud, confident guy Madison once talked about like he was some kind of legend. He looked smaller, thinner, nervous. His eyes darted around the room, searching for something to hold on to. Then he saw me. His whole body froze. "Ethan," he said under his breath. I stared back at him with a blank expression. I didn't blink. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I felt nothing. Whispers spread across the room. Aiden struggled to take his eyes off me, confusion written all over his face. The officers guided him forward, but then the crowd shifted. I saw her. Madison. She sat in the back row, clutching her hands so tightly her knuckles were white. Her eyes were swollen, like she had cried all night. When she saw me, her lips parted. "Ethan," she whispered. Her face cracked open with regret, fear, and something that looked a lot like shame. I kept my expression steady. She didn't deserve a reaction. The bailiff called, "All rise." We stood as Judge Grant entered. "You may be seated," she said. The trial began. Aiden's lawyer, Blake Jensen, stood up confidently. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "my client is misunderstood. Judge Grant cut him off. Mr. Jensen, spare us the theatrics. Proceed. Blake cleared his throat. Yes, Your Honor. I wrote notes, kept my posture straight, and forced myself to breathe evenly. Inside, I locked every emotion in a metal box. The prosecutor presented credit card logs, statements, camera clips. I felt Aiden looking at me multiple times. Madison kept her head down, trembling. At one point, Blake slammed a hand against his table. Your Honor, these charges are exaggerated. Judge Grant didn't even blink. Sit down, Mr. Jensen. When she leaned toward me and whispered, Ethan, statute for repeat fraud offenders? I answered without hesitation. My voice was calm, my hand steady, my past nowhere near my control. I wasn't the old Ethan anymore. When the hearing ended for the day, I gathered my papers and stood. Before I could take a step, I heard footsteps rushing toward me. Ethan, please, Madison said, voice trembling. I didn't look at her. Can we talk? She asked. I walked past her without stopping. Ethan, please, she whispered behind me. But I kept walking. For the first time in my life, I was the one who walked away, and I could feel her regret burning into my back like a shadow that finally realized what it lost. What none of them knew was, this was only the beginning. His fall, her regret, and my rise. Blue Book Chapter 6. Why did you leave me? The moment I stepped out of the courtroom, I just wanted air. I just wanted silence. But her voice followed me. Ethan, please. I didn't stop. I didn't even look back. Her heels clicked fast on the marble floor as she rushed after me. Ethan, wait. Just 1 minute. Please. I turned slowly. She froze like she'd run into a wall. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Her eyes were red, swollen, shaky. I kept my posture straight, calm, controlled, the way Judge Grant taught me. She swallowed. You're working with the judge now? Yes. She looked away. I didn't know. I didn't think. You didn't think at all, I said. She flinched. I deserve that. People walked by, pretending not to stare. But to me, it felt like the hallway shrank until it was only me and her, two people who used to share everything, now reduced to strangers with too much history between them. What do you want, Madison? I asked. I want to explain, she whispered. There's nothing to explain. There is, she insisted. You don't know what happened after I left. Really? Because as far as I remember, you told me Aiden made you feel alive, and then you blocked me. Her face broke. Ethan, I made a mistake. I stayed quiet. She took a shaky breath. Aiden wasn't who I thought he was. He lied. About everything. He said you were boring. He said you'd never go anywhere in life. He said you were holding me back. I stared at her. And that was enough for you? Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was stupid. I thought he cared about me. And now? I asked. Now I know he used me, she whispered. He took my money. He cheated. He lied. He got arrested. And I didn't see it. I didn't want to. Not my problem, I said quietly. She covered her face with her hands. I ruined everything. Us. You. Me. I don't know how to fix it. Her shoulders shook as she cried. Months ago, her tears would have crushed me. But now all I felt was exhaustion. Why are you here? I asked. She looked up, eyes wet. He begged me to come. He said you'd help him. He said you were still a good guy. That you still loved me. I closed my eyes for a second. Aiden doesn't need love, Madison. He needs accountability. She nodded. I know, but I didn't understand how serious things were. I thought if you saw me, maybe you'd understand what. I asked. She stepped closer. That I miss you. The words didn't hit me the way she expected. They just hovered there, empty. I miss you, she repeated. I think about you every day. I think about everything we had, everything we were supposed to be. She reached toward my hand. I stepped back. She froze, her hand hanging awkwardly in the air before she lowered it. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was hurting the only person who ever cared about me. I looked at her carefully. Months ago, her apology would have been the thing I begged for. But now it just felt late. Madison, I said, you didn't break me. You just revealed who I needed to become. She swallowed. And who are you now? Someone who doesn't chase people who leave, I said. Her lip trembled. I deserve that. No, I replied. You deserve the truth. She held her breath. You chose excitement over loyalty, I said. And those choices come with consequences. She looked down at the floor. I still love you, she whispered. No, I said softly. You love the version of me who waited for you. That man doesn't exist anymore. Her breath hitched. She covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face. Ethan, please don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said. But I'm done. She broke down, silent tears spilling onto the marble floor. For the first time, she understood the pain she gave me. Exactly the way I felt it, quietly, deeply, without rescue. I turned away. Ethan, she sobbed. Please, please don't walk away again. I didn't stop. This time, I didn't look back. I didn't hesitate. I didn't wonder if I was making a mistake. This time, I was the one leaving. And she finally understood what it felt like to watch someone walk away forever. Blue Book Chapter 7. Karma has perfect timing. The next few days of the trial were a storm. I tried to stay calm, keep my face steady, take notes like any other assistant. But every time I walked into the courtroom, the air felt heavier, like all the choices that led us here were pressing against the walls. Aiden looked different each day, less confident, less loud, less like the fantasy Madison chased. But today he looked terrified. His leg bounced uncontrollably. His eyes moved around the room like he was searching for an exit no one would give him. His lawyer, Blake Jensen, kept whispering harsh instructions he clearly wasn't listening to. Madison sat behind him, her hands twisting together, her eyes swollen from crying. When Judge Grant entered, the room fell into silence. Let's proceed, she said. The prosecutor called the first witness, a woman in her late 30s. She walked to the stand with her jaw tight, her eyes sharp. He promised to help me, she said. He acted like he knew people. Instead, he stole from me every dollar I had saved. Aiden's head dropped. Madison looked like she was about to faint. I wrote notes quietly, but my eyes kept drifting to Madison. Every word the witness spoke hit her like a punch. She wasn't just watching Aiden fall. She was watching her choices collapse in front of her. The prosecutor handed the witness a document. Is this your signature? Yes, she said. He told me it was part of the process. It wasn't. Blake stood quickly. Objection. My client had no intent to defraud. Judge Grant raised a hand. Sit down, Mr. Jensen. Yes, Your Honor, he muttered. The witness finished her testimony, but as she stepped down, Aiden suddenly stood. That's a lie, he shouted. Judge Grant slammed her gavel. Mr. Brooks, sit down. He didn't. She gave me that money. She was desperate. I was helping her. Two officers stepped forward. Mr. Brooks, Judge Grant warned, one more outburst and I will charge you with contempt. Aiden finally sat, breathing hard. Then he looked right at me. This is your fault, he mouthed. I didn't blink, didn't move, didn't react. Inside, I felt solid, unshaken. He couldn't touch me anymore. The prosecutor continued with the next piece of evidence, a parking lot video. The screen lit up, showing Aiden grabbing a man by the collar, slamming him against a car, threatening him. The entire room gasped. Madison covered her mouth. A tear slid down her cheek. Her eyes widened like the truth had finally stabbed through the fantasy she clung to. She whispered, "Oh my God." For the first time, she wasn't looking at Aiden with love or admiration. She looked at him with fear. Blake tried to salvage the moment. Your Honor, my client was under stress. Stress does not excuse violence, Judge Grant said sharply. Blake's shoulders dropped. Judge Grant leaned a little closer to me and whispered, Ethan, prepare a summary of the charges for tomorrow. Yes, Your Honor, I said quietly. My voice stayed calm. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. This wasn't revenge. This was justice doing what justice does. I stood and retrieved the file, reading the summary clearly. Multiple counts of fraud, unauthorized use of credit cards, assault, threatening a witness, attempted extortion. Aiden slammed his hand on the table. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Judge Grant's voice thundered. Mr. Brooks, enough. Madison whispered. Aiden, stop. Please. Shut up, he snapped at her. She jerked back, startled. Everyone in the courtroom stared. He turned back toward me. You think you're better than me now? You think you get to judge me? I'm not judging you. I said quietly. Life is. His face twisted with rage. But I didn't flinch. Court adjourned for the day. People stood, whispering as they packed their things. Aiden was escorted out by 2 officers, still glaring at me. Madison stayed seated long after everyone else left. She didn't try to stop me this time. She didn't call my name. She just stared at the empty space where Aiden had been sitting. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were blank. Her world was crumbling. As I walked past her, she whispered, barely loud enough to catch. What have I done? I didn't answer. What was there to say? She had chased excitement, and excitement had eaten her alive. I stepped out into the hallway with my head high. The air felt different, lighter, quieter, like I had finally stepped out of a storm I didn't ask to be part of. For the first time since she left me, I felt peace. Not victory, not revenge, just peace. Karma didn't shout. It didn't rush. It didn't need anyone's help. It moved slowly, quietly, perfectly. Aiden was falling apart. Madison was breaking, and I was rising. Walking down that hallway, I realized something simple and strangely freeing. I didn't lose anything when she walked away. She did. Blue Book Chapter 8. I walked away first this time. The courtroom felt heavier than usual, like everyone already knew the air would break before the hour did. I sat straight, hands folded, eyes steady. For the first time, I felt calm in a room filled with noise, whispers, and tension. Maybe it was growth. Maybe it was closure. I couldn't tell. Judge Grant entered. Bring the court to order. Everyone rose. Everyone sat again. Aiden stood between 2 officers, looking nothing like the confident man Madison once chose over me. His hand shook. His eyes darted around. His entire body seemed to collapse inward. Madison sat directly behind him, hugging her arms tight, her gaze unfocused and lost. I inhaled slowly, grounding myself. This moment wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving anything. It was simply the end of a story that had dragged me through every emotion possible. Judge Grant began reading the charges. Fraud. Guilty. Assault. Guilty. Illegal financial schemes. Guilty. With every verdict, Madison flinched like the words were physical strikes. She didn't cry. She looked too drained to cry, but her face crumpled a little more each time. Aiden stared blankly at the floor, unmoving. If he had anything to say, pride wouldn't let it out yet. Then came the sentencing. For repeated criminal activity, for harm done to multiple victims, and for showing no remorse. Aiden Brooks is hereby sentenced to 3 years in state prison. Silence collapsed into gasps. Aiden's head snapped toward me. This is your fault, he shouted. Judge Grant slammed her gavel. Mr. Brooks, enough. This is revenge, Ethan, he yelled as the officers grabbed him. You wanted this. You. His words twisted into angry noise as they dragged him toward the door. I didn't blink. Not once. He disappeared through the hallway, leaving only echoes and the weight of consequences behind him. When the courtroom emptied, Madison didn't move. She stayed frozen in her seat while I gathered files. I avoided looking her way, but her voice found me. Ethan, can we talk? Just one last time. I closed the folder slowly. I didn't need this conversation. Not for closure. Not for healing. But something in her voice sounded final, like she needed the truth spoken aloud to free herself. I nodded once. We moved to a quiet hallway near the back staircase. It was dim, empty, echoing. Madison leaned against the wall, wiping her trembling hands over her eyes. She looked nothing like the girl who left me. She looked softer, but broken. Ethan, she whispered, I'm so sorry for everything. I didn't speak. I let her continue. I didn't come here to beg for anything. I just needed to tell you the truth. I waited. She breathed shakily. I ruined us. I listened to Aiden when he said you were too calm, too serious, too steady. I believed him because I wanted excitement. I thought he made me feel alive. She looked down at her shoes. I was stupid. I kept choosing the wrong things. I kept choosing people who pretended to love me instead of the one person who actually did. Her voice cracked. I regret hurting you. Every day. Still, I stayed quiet. She wiped her face quickly. When I left you, I thought I was choosing a future, but I was destroying one. I didn't just lose you. I lost myself. I leaned against the opposite wall. Madison, you didn't lose me the day you picked him. She looked up confused. You lost me the day you didn't even say goodbye. Her breath hitched. I know, she whispered. I know, Ethan. And now I'm the one hurting. I guess this is karma. Karma doesn't hurt you, I said. It teaches you. What did it teach me? She asked, almost pleading. That excitement fades. Character doesn't. She nodded weakly. Do you hate me? No, I said softly. She closed her eyes in relief. But I don't love you anymore. Her eyes snapped open. The pain hit her instantly. You don't. No, I repeated. Not the way I used to. Not in a way that keeps me waiting. She stepped closer. Ethan, can we fix this? I'll change. I'll try harder. I shook my head gently. You walked away when I was breaking, I said. You blocked me when I begged for answers. You replaced me before I even understood what happened. Tears finally spilled down her cheeks. You didn't just leave me. You taught me how to stand alone. She covered her mouth with both hands, shoulders trembling. Please, please don't walk away again. I'm not leaving you, I said quietly. I'm leaving the past. Her hands fell slowly. Her face was pale, devastated, accepting. Ethan, she whispered, I'll never forgive myself. You don't have to, I said. Just learn from it. She looked so small then, like the truth had finally settled in her bones. I stepped back toward the exit. Goodbye, Madison. She swallowed hard. Goodbye, Ethan. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps echoing like a second heartbeat. I didn't look back, not because I wanted her to suffer, not because I wanted her to regret, but because looking back wasn't something the new version of me allowed. When I stepped outside, the cool Chicago air wrapped around me like a fresh promise. I breathed deeply. For the first time in years, my chest didn't feel tight. My mind wasn't replaying old wounds. My heart wasn't begging for someone's approval. I walked down the courthouse steps, feeling lighter with each movement. And I whispered to myself. I walked away first this time. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like closure, strength, freedom. My past was behind me. My future was unfolding. And for the first time ever, I was finally ready to live it.